les amis, hi guys. I've been a bit quiet for the past weeks because I changed my work location and I've lost my usual space to do the videos. So I'm working on finding the best way to bring in the next content. And also I've been on holidays all the way with my Seiko mini turtle Paddy, which performed fantastically in the water and playing with the kids. I really recommend that watch if you look for something easy to wear and comfortable and safe when playing with children. Now, a little fun content. You might wonder what this exotic Seiko is here on my table. First of all, pardon the background noise. I am outside in the open court of my building. This is the watch that I have actually worn the most, maybe in my whole life. I've had it since 2013. Back then I didn't really care if a watch was automatic or not. I thought quartz was just as good. And I walked into a Seiko shop and found this watch. I seem to recall the sales girl telling me it was a Japanese model that they got here in Hong Kong. And I really love the layout of the subdials, the different functions. You have an alarm which can double as the GMT function, or at least a second time zone. And you have, of course, the chronograph and the date. And I enjoyed the color scheme. This gray, sort of gold disc, black and white. And it came on a comfortable bracelet. And so I bought it, and it wasn't cheap, and they are still not cheap. You can still find this model. It's the reference SNAF17P1, and I believe they came out in 2013, and it is still running on the same battery, so almost 5 years later. It's quite amazing. The alarm does show some signs of weakness, so maybe a change of battery is warranted to bring all the functions back. It's interesting to see how a watch that you wear every day picks up so many scratches. I don't think I've really banged the watch all that much. Usually I would remove it when I got home, and I would remove it getting to the office, and I was fairly careful with it, but I did wear it every day, and you can see a lot of little scratches, mostly on the polish section of that sort of bezel on top. What's interesting is that the side is very reminiscent of my Hamilton GMT Jazzmaster. It's a bit of that case shape, that Swiss type case shape. Interesting lugs here, all very round, brushed here, and you have a polished section there. Not too shabby still. It's mostly on the top that the watch picked up many scratches. No display case back here, of course. The little surprise that I had actually recently, I had never noticed this, never bothered reading the back, but this watch actually has a sapphire crystal. Absolutely no trace of any scratch or any bump. No ding, nothing. And so the watch retailed near the $400, maybe even more. And you can still find a few of these on eBay or with Japanese retailers maybe. And they still cost a hefty $350, which is not bad for a quartz Seiko. This one is from the Premier line of watches. So it has better finish than the entry-level Seiko, as you can see on the hands, and nice little details here on the little ticking seconds hand. The dials are sunken in with an interesting disc around the alarm track. I don't remember too well how the alarm works. I know that you have to pull to the first position, the crown, and then push this button, and you can set the time. If you keep on pushing, it will go fast. And I gotta be careful here, because this watch will ring wherever you set it. There's a way to set it, and I kind of forgot how it works. And what's funny is that if you pull the crown again, it will bring the time back to wherever it was before. Let's see if it works. Yeah, you see how it turns. I don't even know why that is. I think that's because you can follow second time zone. It's not a 24-hour thing, it's a 12-hour dial, but you can follow, you can set the alarm within the next 12 hours, and you can follow a second time zone, which is pretty cool to have all that on the watch. What is also pretty cool, I'm just bringing in information as it comes to my mind, you know. I haven't scripted this video at all, is the chronograph. The pushers are a bit soft, but they work fine. And let's launch it. Obviously you can keep the chronograph running all the time if you want to have an impression of sweeping seconds hand. The sweep is decent. You can stop it here like a regular chronograph. Let me try to zoom a bit better. Okay, and then reset it with the lower button. But you can also have interval times. So if you push the second button this time while it's running, you can read first time interval, and if you push it again, it will jump back to where it was. Then you can stop it, restart it if you want. What you can also do is push once to read an interval, and then push the first button, sorry, and it does nothing. Okay, you push the first button, it will stop the chrono, and then when you push the second button, it will show you the second time, and then you can bring it back. You see a little needle style on that chronograph seconds hand, and the top section will record the minutes. It's yeah, good watch, and I've worn out the bracelet quite a bit. A lot of scratches, of course, you know. Never really paid too much attention, and it would be difficult to polish it, because there's a mix of polished and brushed sections on that bracelet, so it would be a nightmare to try to refinish it, to restore it to its original look. But you know, you're not gonna do that on a cheap watch. So instead of rebooted the watch with the NATO straps, and because the watch is very, very flat, you don't gain too much depth by putting it on the NATO, and also the lugs are very long, so the NATO really slides in very nicely, unlike some other Seiko watches like the Flight Master, for example, where the pins are very close to the case. So it's very easy to put on and off the NATOs. This one, like the Flight Master, is a 21mm lug width, but by chance I found this one. I found a gray one and a black one, so all color schemes of the watch. So I've had fun wearing it again, and then I got into buying mechanical watches, mostly automatics, and this watch has just been sitting in the watch box since then. But I think it still looks cool. It still looks good, and I'll probably change the battery and keep it, and maybe somebody in the family will want to use it, or maybe I will use it when I go on holiday or something. It's got 100 meter of water resistance, which is not bad, so you can probably go in the water. I wouldn't try pushing those buttons in the water, because that would probably ruin the watch totally. And there you go. It's a sporty watch with a dressy look, and that's why I wore it so much. I never thought twice about it, because It works in all circumstances. It's 42 millimeters, but just like the Hamilton Jazzmaster that I mentioned earlier on, because it's very flat and because the lugs are nicely rounded, it wears nice and flat on the wrist. So yeah, although I often wear 38 millimeter watches, this 42 was never out of place. So alright guys, I'll speak to you in the next one with a bit more interesting content. And it's night here, so I wish you a good night, bonne nuit, and speak to you in the next one. Bye bye.